Baroness Foster, or Arlene, you'll be voting on this bill as it goes through the Lords. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, we had our second reading of the bill just on Wednesday past, and I thought it was a very good discussion, actually, Tom, because there were a range of issues raised, primarily around children's safety, because when children go online, they can access a whole world to them, much of it very abusive and actually very worrying. And everyone will remember the very, very sad case of Molly Russell, who was bombarded by a social media platform with very harmful posts. And sadly, she took her own life. And even after she passed away, her account was still being bombarded with very harmful imaging. And it just shows that everything that we see online is not there by accident. It is controlled by these platforms. And therefore, government feels, and I agree with this, that the internet, social media platforms need to be regulated. And the proposal is that Ofcom will regulate the internet here in the United Kingdom. I suppose the discussion then goes to how much we do regulate and how much we allow free speech to continue on the internet. And I think it is really important that we do have free speech. But once that line is overstepped in relation to children's safety, in relation to committing criminal offences, then I think government has to act.
It's interesting because this bill appeared to be very controversial under the premiership of Theresa May and then Boris Johnson. When Liz Truss got in, she sort of injected this I suppose, distinction between what adults should be able to see on the internet and what children should be able to see on the internet. So the bill no longer sort of censoring the entire internet, sort of would view what children should see differently to what adults should see. Is that where the bill has sort of ended up? And is that a better situation than the blanket regulation than was first being suggested?
Well, I think there are still some Lords, particularly on the left, who would like to see the controversial legal but harmful clause put back into the legislation. There may well be amendments that come forward in that regard. But I think there is a distinction between adults and children, and indeed between vulnerable people. We heard some very passionate speeches about those with learning difficulties and how they could be influenced by accessing material online as well. This is not about controlling, from my perspective, Tom. It's about safety. And it's about making sure that our children, when they access things online, they can't access anything online that they couldn't access offline. So it's about levelling out the field so that we keep our children safe. And I think that's really important. Likewise, I think it's important that we are able to access information if we want to online. There are some peers who would like to deal with misinformation, as they call it, and bring in controls on that. I don't agree with that. I think people who are adults should be able to make their own judgments in relation to that information. But I do think as well we need to tackle, and this is something I feel quite strongly about, this whole idea of anonymity of posting. So if someone threatens to kill me online and it's in an anonymous account, then you cannot bring that person to justice for doing that. So I think it's wrong that people can set up anonymous accounts, give out abuse, give out threats to kill, talk about some terrible things, violence against women and girls, but they cannot be detected because it's an anonymous account. So I do think we need to deal with anonymity online as well as the issue of keeping our children safe.